So, what's this movie and me extra all about? You will soon find out. Welcome to a brand new episode of Movies and Me Extra, and this is a very special episode because I've gotten perhaps the biggest Wonder Woman fan I've ever seen, and probably one of the biggest guests I've ever got on this show. Please welcome ItzMoe to the show. How's it going, buddy?
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Anytime. Before we get into Wonder Woman, which I'm very excited to talk about, I want to talk a bit about how I came about to do this episode and how I found you. I was like, one day I just decided, you know what, Wonder Woman's gonna be fucking great. And on that day, I was searching for trailer reactions to Wonder Woman to see if I could find a good guess for it, and you popped up, and I was like, this girl looks like Gal Gadot. She sounds a little bit like Gal Gadot, and she's clearly the most passionate Wonder Woman fan I can find on here. So I sent you a message, and surprisingly, you replied back, and now we're here.
Oh, awesome! I didn't know that. So, was it? Was it? It wasn't the one where I cried.
It probably was. It was the one Patty Jenkins retweeted.
Yeah, that's the one where I cried. Okay.
Don't you cry in like all of them?
I cried. That's the one I cried the most because I couldn't stop crying. Like even when I was talking about it, I was still like, oh my god, I can't stop crying. So that was probably my most memorable one.
Well, we'll get right into it. We'll keep it like spoiler free for the first couple minutes, then we'll talk about all the freaking spoilers. So,
Okay.
you're clearly a very passionate Wonder Woman fan. I don't know too much about the character other than what I've heard around. Like, I knew her from Batman v Superman, and I knew like the basic idea, but you're like next level. You know a lot of stuff about Wonder Woman. So, when this movie got announced and after you saw it, what were your like initial reactions?
Well, after it got announced, I was very excited because I mean, she freaking deserves, a movie. She's deserved one for a long time. She's like the number one, female superhero, and I know everyone says that, but it's for a reason. She's just amazing. I love her. I loved her in like the cartoons and the comics, and yeah, I was just very happy that it's finally happening because she's part of the Trinity. The three most popular, not just DC superheroes, but I think just superheroes in general are Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. And Batman, I love Batman. He's like one of my favorites too, and I love Superman too. And so they've had their own several films, but freaking Wonder Woman, like she hasn't had any, and I was so happy that they finally are. We're gonna make this happen, especially for a lot of girls. Finally get to see some strong leading woman leading a superhero movie, kicking butt, and I just love the character of Diana. She's very she's about love, very loving, fighting for justice, strong, independent. I think she's even though she's a fictional character, she's still I think a good role model for women, girls to aspire to be someone like that. So I was very happy.
Yeah, I was very happy too, and for a lot of those reasons, because I'm really surprised that there's not been a lot of female superhero movies. I mean, there have been ones in the past, but they kind of suck, and I'm happy to report that this is a freaking great one. Like, when I saw this, and I knew this was going to happen, I was really happy when Patty Jenkins was saying that she was inspired the most by Richard Donner's Superman, and I was like, if this movie is good, then little girls are gonna get their Richard Donner Superman like I had when I grew up. Like I grew up with on Raimi's Spider-Man, and watching that Reeves Superman movie for the first time gave me a lot of joy. And I was like, little girls need that because even good supporting characters in comic book movies that are female, like Black Widow and Gamora, they're great, but they don't get top billing. And this is the first time that you get like a really big budget, female led, female directed superhero movie. So I was rooting for this to succeed, and walking out of it, I'm glad it did because it's currently, I'm juggling it now, but it's definitely in my top three when it comes to superhero origin stories. I know it's a little soon, but where is it for you, like in the terms of what you've seen so far?
Of origin stories or like DCU films or.
Yeah, both. You can go both.
Well, for DCU, I think it'll just like rotate. Like number four is Suicide Squad. I think it was like not of all of them, it's probably the least favorite for me. But I love Man of Steel. I love BBS. Because I love seeing Yeah, it was the first time seeing Batman and Superman together in a movie, which was freaking awesome. And then to add Wonder Woman in there, and then the first shot of the Trinity just like looking at Doomsday, I'm just like, oh my god, it was like a dream come true. So I really love that movie too. The Ultimate Edition more, and I know not a lot of people like that movie, but I do. Um, so I don't know. Wonder Woman. It's really hard, but I think I'll like rotate. But maybe for right now, I think I might have said something different earlier, but like I said, maybe like I think BBS Ultimate Edition is probably number one. Then Wonder Woman, then Man of Steel, but it might change. It just depends on like how I feel, what I just watched. But I think BBS, even though maybe a lot of people don't consider it the best, I think one of the reasons I'm like so attached to it is just because it's the first, like I said, seeing the Trinity together in Batman and Superman one movie, and then Gal Gadot's like the introduction of Wonder Woman in the battle. I think it's like one of the best introductions of a character ever, like with the music and just like, oh my god, like every time I watch it, I just like so those three kind of. I need to see Man of Steel again. That's one I haven't seen. I can't really come up with lists like off the top of my head, but I'm gonna say Wonder Woman number one just because it's the one that I just saw and the other ones I haven't seen in a while. But I thought Batman Begins is also a really good one. I'm more, even though I do watch all the Marvel movies, I'm just more knowledgeable about DC and more like attached to those characters. So that's why I usually like put them first. But I still enjoy the Marvel movies. Can I pick Deadpool? I just love that movie. It's so funny. It's a recent one I saw. I need to see all the other ones in a while. So I feel kind of unfair rating them. In a while. So Deadpool is it's a recent one I saw. So I'm just gonna put it there and it'll change after I watch them again. So it's a funny origin story.
BVS is an interesting one for me because, like you said, when I first saw that theatrical cut, I was one of the people that didn't like it. But when I saw the Ultimate Edition, I was like, okay, you filled in a lot of the stuff, you made the story a lot more coherent, and Wonder Woman was never a problem with me for that movie at all. It was just the way that
Yeah.
they handled a lot of the story elements, and I can't really fault it for being different because we're always looking for different things in superhero movies. But back to Wonder Woman, this it gave me the same feel I had when the first time I saw Christopher Reeve pull his shirt open and reveal that S and go save Lois Lane. This I didn't think a movie could do that, and I'm gonna be thinking about this for a long time. But I have a strong feeling, and even though I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, I think Wonder Woman could be the best movie of the summer, and I wouldn't have said that last year. So it's been a really great surprise. So
Yeah.
I guess we can sort of head into spoiler talk now. If you haven't seen Wonder Woman yet, what the hell are you doing? Why are you listening to this episode? Go out and buy a ticket. Take everybody to see it. But spoiler talk. Any scene in particular that you want to bring up first that you just loved in the movie? Because I've got a couple of them.
Oh my gosh. I love too many. I mean, obviously, all the like the funny moments, with Chris Pine and Gal when they were on the boat, and they were talking about pleasures of the flesh. And then when he was like, "Fine, I'll sleep with you." I just thought that whole scene. I couldn't stop laughing. Even the second time I saw it, I still laughed at all those same scenes. I still thought they were funny. And then the action, like all the fight scenes, No Man's Land when we first see her, and she kind of doesn't listen to Chris Pine when he's like, "We can't save everyone." And she's like, "Well, I'm going to." Oh my gosh, yeah, that was just like got me. It's like, oh my gosh, finally! Even though we kind of like saw some of it in the trailer, but still, like after seeing what she was, the conversation with Chris Pine before, that was awesome. And then the one where she stands up to the general, that one I love
So
because I
great.
really like that's Diana right there. She's fighting for justice. That I love that scene so much. So, and when after Steve Trevor dies, and she just unleashes her power, that was pretty awesome too.
I'm gonna track back to when you said Diana Prince there because you mentioned a lot of the little moments. Like I was watching your live video a while ago, and like when you brought up the stuff like the ice cream cone and her seeing a baby, like there was such an innocence and a naivety to her character that it made her so likable. But my favorite part, and it's such a small moment because I'm a huge film fan as well, when they get caught by like I think they're German spies in the alleyway and one of them fires towards Steve Trevor and she just blocks it with her gauntlets because that's such a great little nod to Richard Donner's Superman, but it's like a nice little role reversal that it still works and it just it gave me one of those moments. I was just so flustered by how great this movie really is, and that's all down to Patty Jenkins, Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, the whole cast. Like I'm gonna be thinking about this for a really, really long time.
Yeah, me too. Like, that's why I'm gonna go see it again because I'm just like, oh, I can't stop thinking about this movie. It's so awesome. I'm gonna try to watch it in the theaters probably as much as I can before I have to watch it in my small screen at home. Just you need to see it on a big screen. It's definitely worth the money. So yeah.
Unless you're in a Cypress movie theater where the quality is terrible, but it's watchable enough. Trust me, you don't ever want to go to Cyprus for their movie theaters.
You don't have IMAX over there?
Oh, if I said the word IMAX to a Cyprus guy, he'd probably look at me like I was from another planet.
Oh, dang.
Since you brought up No Man's Land, I'm going to compare it to another scene in Donner's Superman. It's like when you see him fly for the first time. And, God, it's just everything about it, like the music, the way that kicks in, the way you're just totally on board, because this movie took its time in setting up Diana Prince. It made you like her. And I've been saying this a lot about the marketing of this movie because they didn't really highlight the villains at all in the trailers. Like, I was worried that they were going to spoil a big money shot of Ares, but what they did was they were saying, you should go see this movie because you should like Diana Prince. And that's exactly what the movie does. And we'll get into the villains in a second, but was that something that you were hoping for? Like, were you hoping for this just to be a great Wonder Woman movie specifically for her character, or like to be an overall, like, great movie?
I think both, but Jeremy Johns. I don't know if you know him. He's a
I do.
reviewer on YouTube. Yeah, he was actually at the screening I went to, the first one. He was sitting like behind me. But he also thought the villains were not as strong. But he said, okay, if you have to pick what's gonna be strong in your movie, the hero or the villain, and rather have the hero be strong. So I agree with that. So if the villains aren't that great, it's okay. I want it to be more about Diana. And it seems to have worked because I've read a lot of comments from people saying like, okay, I took my friend or relative or whatever, and they didn't really know much about Wonder Woman after watching this movie, in love with Wonder Woman. So that's good. That's good. That makes me happy. So
Yeah, I've already pre-ordered the Funko Pop of Wonder Woman. It's coming to me tomorrow, I think.
ooh, awesome.
And I'll probably be ordering the Blu-ray once I get back to the UK. And we mentioned the villains, but I'm a little bit divided on them because I think these villains work better as ideas rather than characters. Like General Ludendorff, I think his name is, Danny Houston's character. He's pretty much a red herring. He's there for you to think that he's going to turn out to be. Since we're well into spoiler alert, you think he's going to be Ares, but he really isn't. And then you have Dr. Poison, who's I love the way they handled her in this movie. I do wish she was a bit more developed, but the idea of like this is what a broken humanity looks like, and the way the scene at the end where she just has that thing of her face peel off and to reveal that she's a really damaged person, like on the surface it can look like she's just a cartoony villain, but when you really think about the layers, it got better for me. And we'll talk about Ares because Ares is undoubtedly her arch enemy in the comics. I was really glad that they cast someone like David Thewlis because compare him to Danny Houston, who is the red herring for this movie. Danny Houston's a very intimidating looking guy, like he's got that sort of physical presence. David Thewlis, as much as I love him, does not really have much of a physical presence. So what makes Ares scary relies a lot on his character, and I thought they handled that really well. Like I was afraid he was going to be a big CGI thing like Doomsday, and it just it was going to take me out of the movie, but you could actually see his face through the armor at the end. And overall, I think for what they were going for, Ares, Dr. Poison, and Ludendorff, they all work much better as ideas than they do as characters. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but did I just blow your mind or something?
I think you did, because I had not thought of that. But I yeah, I did like Ares, and I like that. I didn't really expect Sir Patrick. I think is the character's name. I didn't expect him to be Ares. Like I knew it was like Ludendorff because I made it like super obvious. They try to make it like he's Ares, he's Ares. I'm like okay, so I don't think he is. And then especially when she killed him, I thought it was way too like anticlimactic. I'm like okay, it's obviously not Ares. Like so. Yeah, but I thought the way I don't know. I like the way Ares looked too. Like he was intimidating. He was scary, and yeah, like you said, it was cool how like the actor, he wasn't really intimidating, so you wouldn't really suspect him to be Ares. So
Yeah, and it helps that I'm a big Harry Potter fan because he was perhaps one of the best professors in the Potter movies.
And I didn't realize it was the same actor until like towards the end of the movie, like right before he became Ares and stuff. I was like, hey, is that Professor Lupin? I didn't realize it. I watched all the trailers, everything, and then I don't know. I think maybe I had to see him like close up, like watching the movie, and I was like,
Yeah, instead of turning into a werewolf, he turns into the god of war. So he's kind of graduated in that kind of aspect.
yeah,
Oh, God. And since one last thing I want to bring up, I'm sure there's more things you can bring up, but I kind of knew that Steve Trevor wasn't going to be around by the time Justice League came out, just from the simple thing of age. He would be old, and maybe they grow old and die together. But when he sacrificed himself to save everybody, and it's just the way the scene's handled. Like Wonder Woman can't hear him saying his last words, but we as the audience see that, and it had me in tears, like him giving her the watch and everything like that. And I can't exactly remember what the line is, but it's like I can save today, you can save the world, and
yeah.
that kind of thing just speaks complete volumes. And I'm pretty sure this is going to go down not as just one of the best superhero origin movies ever made, but definitely one of the best superhero movies ever made. And I imagine you're still in PTSD from Steve Trevor's death, so I'll let you gush that out here.
Yes, I'm probably gonna cry when I watch it again tomorrow, just because, yeah, like you said, that scene, when he's saying his last words, and then she can't hear him, and I'm just like, what the heck? And I just had a feeling, like, when that was happening, I was like, no, better not be doing this, Steve Trevor. And then when I saw him in the plane, and just the look on his face, I was like, no, he's gonna do it. I'm like, no, don't do it. Like, I also had a feeling, too, that, like, he, was not gonna probably survive, but I still didn't want it to happen. I wanted to be wrong. And yeah, and then the fact that she couldn't really hear him, like, what the heck, that's someone that, yeah, maybe they didn't know each other for that long, but still, they spent a long time together. You can really fall for somebody if you spend 20% with them. And I was really sad that she couldn't hear him, but I guess towards the end, yeah, she ended up like kind of remembering what she said. And dang it, Steve. I love Steve because I wasn't really a big Steve person either before this movie. I had seen him in the comics and the Wonder Woman animated movie and stuff like that, but I don't know. Like Chris Pine made me like Steve Trevor, so I think that's a good actor right there. Because there are other actors that they make me like characters in comics that when I would see them in the comics, I wasn't really that into them, but when I saw them on screen, they made me love the character. So Chris Pine, he did a good job, and I can't stop. Like after that, like I can't stop crying. Like the rest of the movie, I'm crying because then, Diana's angry. She's, showing her power, and then at the end when they go she sees a picture of him. I'm just like, oh dang it! I was like, he really is dead. I was kind of hoping he would survive, but and then yeah, I guess I didn't really expect it to survive too because in BVS, I don't know, we just see a picture of him, so she probably would have made a reference or emailed him or something, kind of showing that he's still alive. But obviously, that she sent to Bruce at the end, like, "Oh, thank you for bringing him back to me." That was nice. I was like, "Oh, Bruce Wayne, he's so nice." That was sweet. But yeah, I can't stop crying after that. I'm crying the rest of the movie.
You've got me emotional just thinking about it. Jeez.
So, yeah.
Oh
I
God.
think that was also a good, it's just a good romantic moment in a film. Like, not even really a superhero film. Like, just so tragic. I think when he's saying his goodbyes and she can't hear him. Like, I felt so bad. She's like, oh, she's like trying to hear him. She's like, oh, and she's like, well, let me do it. And then she's like, and then that's the other thing too, because she was basically trying to like, take care of it so he wouldn't have to like sacrifice himself and stuff. He's like, no, no, no. Like, oh my God. So, oh, like, he's such a good person. He's like, no, I'm going to go and sacrifice myself.
Yeah. And before we get into wrapping up, because I did want to ask what you want to see in a sequel, but before I get into that, is there any other moments that you want to bring up that stood out to you that we haven't brought up yet?
Well, yeah, you brought up all the little moments of her, with the baby and the ice cream and stuff like that. Those were one of my favorite ones. The action scenes, the humor, and that line by that one guy, like, I'm both aroused and frightened at the same time. I love that line. It's really funny. I think I brought up most of them, and the battle with Themyscira I thought was great.
And
So
Themyscira looks gorgeous.
yeah, they need to make it like kind of vacation spot or something for nerds. Come visit Themyscira.
Warner Brothers, if you're listening, make that happen.
Yes, I think it's in Italy though, so we'd have to fly over there.
Hey, I don't mind. Italy's got great cuisine over there, so I'll go
Yeah, that's
anytime.
true. And then we could like dress up. They like build it so it looks like their castle and stuff. You could sleep in the castle. That would be super expensive though.
Hey, I don't mind. I'll fork it out. Just one thing I want to bring up with the Steve Trevor's crew, specifically one character, the marksman. I'm Scottish. That's exactly like a lot of Scottish people that I know, like right down to the getting into a bar fight over a freaking drink. So it brought a bit of home to me as well.
Wow. Well, that's good to know. I guess they nailed it.
Oh, they did. I know so many guys like that in Scotland.
Oh wow.
But before we wrap up, is there anything in particular that you'd like to see in a sequel? Because that's definitely going to happen with this movie. I can feel it. It could be like her Winter Soldier.
Mm. No, I actually don't have a lot of like. I just want it to be good. Maybe the villain be better. I guess that would be like something I would want, like someone. Because I feel like even though I did like Ares, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I would have liked to have seen him more in the movie.
Same here.
Because I kind of felt the same with like. Well, I guess Lex was the main villain in BVS, but then we had Doomsday. But I don't like when they have this like big bad villain, but he's only in like the last 15 minutes of it.
Venom, Venom, Spider-Man 3.
So maybe a villain that yeah, like Cheetah or somebody who's just really gives. It's a good foe for see Diana maybe struggle a little bit. Kind of like the Joker. He was really good in Dark Knight and everything. Someone kind of that caliber. Hard though, but great. I don't know, just kind of have a better villain, have them be in there a little bit longer, still have your awesome action scenes, keep the spirit of Diana, just beautiful, strong, justice, warrior. Not social justice warrior, but just warrior. And just maybe have Patty Jenkins direct it, because she did a great job. So don't mess with, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Don't get somebody else. Like she did so well, get her to do Wonder Woman 2 and Steel 2.
I would totally be down for her doing Man of Steel 2, but I don't know if you know this about me, dude, but I'm actually a writer as well. Do you by any chance know who Max Landis is? I've met him a few times. Like when I was growing up in Dubai, I saw him every year at Dubai Comic Con, and he's kind of become like my unofficial mentor because he doesn't know that I still write. But I got a little idea for what Wonder Woman 2 could be, so I'm gonna pretend that you're like a Warner Brothers executive, like you're smoking a cigar and drinking scotch, and I'm gonna try blow your mind with this.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. What really drew me to this was how Patty Jenkins was influenced so much by Richard Donner's Superman, and I like the fact that you brought up Cheetah because I'm gonna use her in this pitch. Imagine you have her maybe set in the modern day, or it could be like in the 80s or something. It would work in either way, but Cheetah is a character to me that I thought was ridiculous up until I started reading some more of her backstory and where she comes from. She's basically like an evil version of Lara Croft. Like, she collects all these artifacts and these weird things. So, since this is like Donner's Superman, this first movie, what if the second movie becomes sort of like a Raiders of the Lost Ark type feel, and maybe Diana Prince meets Cheetah before she becomes a cheetah? She wants to go on like adventures and stuff and find all these artifacts. Then you can bring in all the Wonder Woman stuff like the invisible jet and maybe poke fun at that a bit. And of course, have her be using Diana to get to this cheetah curse thing. And then you have your whole movie. And then not only do you have Diana struggling with how humanity is, she gets to see that from a female perspective, and I think that would help the themes of this going forward. So, would you be down to see that, like an Indiana Jones type style movie with this?
Yeah, I love Indiana Jones. So yeah, that would be freaking awesome. Especially like, and also just having like Cheetah, 'cause two. I think that would be like the next step, having two female leads in a superhero movie. Let's do it. And yeah, adventure. Indiana Jones. That would be awesome. Too bad Steve Trevor can't be in it because he's kind of like
Mm.
Indiana Jones. But yeah, and I liked that it. You said it was going to be like before Cheetah became Cheetah, right? Like it was kind of her origin.
Kind of, yeah. Because she's like a Lara Croft type character, so her meeting her since she's in a museum, I think, would work. And you could probably get
Yeah.
someone like Emily Blunt or something to play her, because she's like this really loudmouth, narcissistic British woman, and Emily Blunt could kill that. Freaking do
So
it.
let me shake her hand. We're gonna make this movie.
Hell yeah, let's fucking do this. And just before we wrap up, I have a little feature on my main show as well as this show, and you've probably been saying this to everybody you've met, but I want you to imagine that I've never seen Wonder Woman, or I don't know what I'm gonna go see this week because I'm not gonna go see any. I'm not gonna go see Pirates. We'll get that out of the way. You're not gonna see a Movies and Me Extra on the new Pirates of the Caribbean. But what do you tell me to get me to go and see Wonder Woman?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Um, I'm very bad at this stuff. Okay. It's a movie that everyone can enjoy. It's not just for females. Not just for adults. I feel like it's a movie everyone can enjoy. It has funny moments. Great action, great characters. It has this really nice relationship between this man and this woman. They really support each other, respect each other, and everyone, pretty much everyone I know that has seen this movie loves it. So, it's a fun movie. It has light moments, dark moments. It's like I feel like a very well balanced movie. You're gonna have fun. It's for everyone, and you're gonna fall in love with Gal Gadot's Diana. So,
I'm gonna say this right here. Christopher Reeve was Superman to me. Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. Tom Holland is Spider Man to me. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. Like, she owns that freaking character. And hey, dude, thank you so much for coming on my show. You've been a really great guest. So I want to let the other people know where can they find you, and is there anything that you want to plug while you're here?
my main YouTube channel, I have two actually. My main one, it's my oldest one. It's just ItzMoe, ItzMoe, and that's just right now I'm doing a lot of Wonder Woman stuff because of the movie and everything, but just it's very random. Basically, talk about whatever I like. So it's like DC comic stuff, comedy stuff. I want to shoot some comedy sketches, but I need a place to film them. Just basically anything I want to talk about, I put on that channel, and then I have my other channel, which is called 90s Kids Forever. That one's like 2 years old, and that one because I'm really into the 90s nostalgia and all the cartoons and stuff like that. So anything 90s related, I put on that channel, celebrity interviews, or if I go to Comic Cons. And yeah, so if you like 90s movies, check out 90s Kids Forever YouTube channel, and then my main one, ItzMoe, if you like more nerdy stuff, just vlogs or whatever. And then on Twitter, I'm at ItzMoe, ITZMOE, and then on Instagram, if you search ItzMoe, I should appear because my handle is kind of long, but it's more than you think 7, but it has ItzMoe as my name. So if you search ItzMoe, you should be able to find it. So there you go. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you don't know my other stuff, but Movies and Me is a podcast where I get guests talking about a movie that maybe they grew up with or has a personal connection to them. So you're always welcome on that if you ever want to come back and collaborate with me again. And before I wrap up, I just want to give a quick shout out to all my people at Tough who are in Philly Comic Con: Jack, Brian, Tom, Kimber, Ashley, Joe, Randall, Cal, Matt, Raul, Delisha, and Eric. I hope you guys are having a great time out at Philly Comic Con, and I wish I could be there with you, but unfortunately I'm stuck in Cyprus and can't help with that. Leave us a comment below. What did you guys think of Wonder Woman? Is there anything that you want to see in the sequel? And of course, use the hashtag Movies and Me Xtra to help continue the conversation. Tweet me at Nolan Dean 27 or tweet ItzMoe about it. I'm sure she'll be happy to talk Wonder Woman with anybody. And if you guys like this episode, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.